Yo, what's up? Next in the series of the vision videos is I want to share my multiverse theory or vision. And I mentioned I'd do this one in my experiencing high dimensions video. That video was one that I did based off of a vision that I had in a nap. And this one I had, I'm going to try my best to explain this. Again, sometimes the words can't explain what I see and perceive and feel, but I'm going to do my best with this one. And I get to draw, so good day for me. Alright, so if you've got, I'll start up here. So you've got the nucleus of an atom. I don't know if you can see that, but just go along. Nucleus of an atom, and then you have the electrons and the protons and things that spin around it in an orbit, and generally they're elliptical, so one's going this way, another one's going that way, and so on and so forth. And when we look out into the world, there's much more space than there is physical anything. And I don't know if you know about scale, but the distance between the nucleus of an atom and the electrons and things that surround them is gargantuan. The distance between that and that, you know how small an atom is, the distance between that and that is the equivalent of like here to one of the, maybe the sun, I don't know what the actual scale is, but it's huge, it's massive. There's a lot more space than anything else. That space is made up of energy and blah blah blah, but whatever. So, everything happens in spirals generally. So there's spirals everywhere, there's circles everywhere. Everything sits in certain codes and patterns, ones and zeros, everything's coded information in ones and zeros. And the reason that I see a multiverse rather than a universe is that not only do I perceive and see other realms and dimensions and events happening all at once and that sort of thing. Here's how I got to understand this. You know, you see spirals in small things, then you see spiral galaxies, and they're part of spiral armadas, and they're part of just, it all expands, and as a spiral does, a spiral expands, and they're all part of this continually expanding phenomena. So what I saw was, okay, so I saw a cell. I'm going to tell you how I saw us. Okay, so I saw a cell, which is, you know, a cell in the body, right? So a cell, again, has a nucleus, it has little things in it like, say, mitochondria. It's got, you know, genes, it's got DNA, it's got nutrients, and there's your cell membrane, and then outside of the cell you have fluid, and then you got more cells. All that's attached to another cell straight away. And what I saw was that us as a human, was part of, we were just like a dot, a little part of the internal part of a cell. And that cell was part of a bunch of other cells. And those bunch of other cells made up a body, right? So a human body. So we're like little tiny human bodies inside of a cell that make up one human body that has its own expression and its own ability to move and do things on its own. And then what happened was that was part of, so that human body was a cell in a greater human body. And then what happened was that just kept growing and growing, and that started to get into the point where we've got a universe, and like our universe that we perceive, the universe was that, like a cell, and that universe was just one cell. And then that was joined to other cells that made up part of a body. And then it just kept growing and growing until the universe that we see, as I said, was just one cell as part of a body. And you've got this body that's made up of just all these galaxies, and the hugest scale that you can imagine or you can perceive or comprehend in our known universe was merely this as part of a body that's moving around, and then that body is moving around in the space of another universe, and that universe is just a cell moving as part of a body that's moving around in the space of another gargantuan universe. So that's how, I probably didn't even need to draw that because that kind of came out crappy, but in my head it looks magnificent. Anyway, the point of that was that we see the universe as always expanding as well, and the reason that we do that, I think, this just happened in the vision, I don't know how scientifically valid it is, but we see everything in this universe as expanding, right? But what if it's only expanding in the breadth of time from this Big Bang to expanding that we've perceived in the time that we've measured, right? So let's say we're this we're all part of the inner parts of a cell that are part of a body that's part of a universe, and as I said, that just keeps growing like Russian dolls. But what if that body was taking an in-breath, and that's what we perceive it as expansion in the universe. And then what happens is that in-breath might take our perceived time of 80 billion years. I mean, you look at the scale of how many times an electron will rotate around an atom, but in our human time in this realm, right, that's probably, that if you were that small, that might take a year in our time. But for us, that's probably happened 80,000 billion times in 1 millisecond of our human time, right? So we're just perceiving things differently. So this body that we're just a cell part of is doing this, and then in 80 billion years or something, it goes and exhales, and then it contracts. And so our known universe that we see is expanding. It's only expanding in what we're perceiving now. After that, it's going to contract. And then the next lot of humans in however long will think, oh, the universe was always contracting. But it's not. It's just part of this respiration that's going on. So, geez, I don't know if that explained anything to you, but that's how I perceived the multiverse, in that there's just dimensions within dimensions and realms within realms, worlds beyond worlds, and we're just part of this thing that's perhaps respirating. Rather than always expanding, it can be respirating. So that's my multiverse theory. I don't know how you'll prove that scientifically or mathematically. Perhaps it's not meant to ever be proved mathematically, but it's just one possibility in amongst a world of infinite possibilities. And the next video I'm going to show infinite possibilities. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Hope you had some sort of spin out on that, because I'm not sure if I even explained what I saw, but did the best I could. So I'll check you out on the next vid.